Education is opening the special meeting at 5 p.m. Roll call, please.
CJ Johnson.
Jesus again present.
Susan Smith present.
Hope Eden present.
Marshall Locke present.
Martin Rex Kidzior present.
Robert Birdie, present.
Susanna Lopez present.
Maribel Maddox present.
The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Savannah Avery, 5th grade student from Reno Elementary School. May we all stand.
My name is Savannah Avery. I am a 5th grader at Moreno Elementary. Please stand and put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. You may be seated, and thank you.
Thank you.
Such a good job.
Thank you,
Very
Savannah.
nice.
Good
Great
job.
job.
Okay, now we're going to move to public comments on agenda items. Anyone wishing to speak to any item on the agenda may do so at this time. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for 3 minutes on any agenda item. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on each agenda item to 21 minutes. Board Bylaw 9323 B Section 5. Per Board Bylaw 9323, twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing a translator. Do we have any public comments?
Dr. Locke, we do have a total of 6 public comments on agenda, all to be read.
Okay.
And I have my colleague Regina Castellano, who will be assisting with the readings.
Okay, thank you. We'll do so at this time.
Hold on, let me share my screen. Okay, ready?
It has come to my attention that the MVUSD is trying to make changes to the MVOA online ISP that has raised significant concerns for my family and I. My daughter has been attending MVOA since October of 2019. She started her freshman year after having difficulty transitioning from Landmark Middle School to Vista Del Lago High School. My daughter has gone from being a straight A student to failing almost every class in high school. She had suffered an unspeakable trauma which had not yet been divulged to me. Traditional high school life was compounding that trauma. At typical high school, my daughter was targeted by bullies and unable to cope. I was pleased to learn that our school district offers a unique independent study program that can be tailored to each student. My daughter was able to quickly assimilate to the program at MVOA. What made the transition easier was when we learned that one of my daughter's favorite teachers from middle school is actually a teacher at MVOA. This allowed my daughter to build a strong connection with her teacher, who has worked with her tremendously over this last year. My daughter was on the verge of failing, missing a lot of school, unable to focus on her classwork. The MVOA, as it stands right now, with the help of Mr. Peoples, Miss Cherry, and Miss Byers, have literally saved my daughter's life. The one-on-one support she is able to receive from the MVOA has allowed her to continue her education and still get the treatment she needs for her mental health issues and recovering from trauma. My daughter has built a strong bond with her independent studies teacher, who has crafted a unique academic plan. The alternative attendance credit has allowed my daughter to receive attendance credit, which dramatically improved her grades. This option is not available at traditional schools. My daughter will ultimately receive her high school diploma, which without the MVOA as it stands now would likely not be obtainable. The MVOA also allows me flexibility to assist my daughter. I am a recently divorced single mom. I am also a practicing attorney in the state of California. The pandemic has not decreased my workload. The current program allows my family the flexibility it desperately needs. Imagine my dismay when I learned that the district is abruptly changing the ISHS A through G program and the independent study teacher teaching designation. This change will affect my student's program and her ability to continue with her current IS program. My daughter has told me that if she cannot have her current teacher, then she will not continue with her education. This would be absolutely devastating for her young life. We're in the middle of a global crisis. Students are struggling with adapting to distance learning. I am frankly disappointed that the district would choose this time to implement these drastic changes. Furthermore, absolutely appalling, the parents were not notified of these disruptive changes which were occurring in the middle of the year. I would like to know why the parents were not notified of these changes which significantly impact our children's education progress. Why is this being done now? Is there a board policy to provide parents with notification of any changes? Ultimately, I want my daughter Speaker is Harold Acord. As a very long-time employee of the Moreno Valley Unified School District, I would like to express my discomfort with what seems to be a push for us to come back physically to teach during this pandemic. It is not possible that the school district can guarantee neither our students nor our own safety in doing so. The San Bernardino City Schools USD was wise to put everyone notice that they will continue in distance learning to the end of the school year in June 2021, thereby maintaining the safety of their students and staff. I'm requesting that MVUSD do the same thing and sooner rather than later. The anxiety and concern for our safety will then be assuaged. The vaccines for COVID-19 are not expected to be fully introduced in our community until this summer. Therefore, the pandemic will not be under control until at least this coming summer of 2021. It seems that we will be in the purple tier for a long time. Please do your duty as our employer and ensure our safety and that of our students. I strongly urge you to publicly plan for distance learning to continue through the rest of the school year. Thank you for your time and attention, Harold Acord.
Thank you.
Speaker is Kimberly Taylor. Good evening. I first want to thank each of you for your dedication and support of our students and families. I'm speaking out today referencing our plan to return to in-person campus learning this school year. I still want to be in person doing the work of education, but I am anxious, fearful, scared, and hopeful. I'm anxious because I know the steps my family and I take to try hard to stay safe, but I am not sure others may take the same precautions. I'm anxious because placing young people on a campus and force them to have limited interactions with other students on campus is not a good environment to establish. I am anxious because of the unknowns. I am fearful because I do not want students to come back and we have COVID detected in school would then have to be quarantined. The back and forth with our youth would not be good. I am fearful that despite all the precautions we take, it still will not be efficient enough to keep us all safe. Just today, we were notified that my nephew was exposed to COVID through one of his coaches. So now, our entire household is on a 14-day quarantine, and my mother is at high-risk age. I'm fearful. I'm scared because I do not want to lose another person to this virus. I am scared that we will never return to our normal way of interacting with one another. I've witnessed my colleagues' anxiousness about what is happening while speculating what could happen. This is heart-wrenching, and I know each of us has observed this since March. My coworkers and I are finding ourselves reaching out for support in ways we never imagined because of the fear. I know you do not have a win-win solution, but I am hopeful that our country, state, nation, and district will gain some sense of normalcy in the months to come so we can come out of hiding. I'm hopeful because I know that you will consider all precautions and make the best decision plan for our safe return. Today, if I had to vote, I vote we stay in virtual learning till the end of the school year and start fresh next school year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Javiera Villegas Calderon. Dear members of the board, we would like to start by thanking you for taking the time to listen to our concerns. We, the undersigned, would like to express the reasons why we strongly believe remaining in distance learning for the remainder of the school year is the best decision for all involved. We are currently investing our time and money in setting up our classrooms with desk space 6 feet apart and enclosed in plexiglass. But how would this create an environment that is stable and conducive to learning for our young ones? With bare walls, empty classrooms, plexiglass partitions, rules of maintaining 6 feet apart, along with wearing face coverings at all times, students will have to be separated from their peers and their teacher anytime they are in the classroom and on school grounds. Currently, as we continue the practice of distance learning, students are on task, and showing academic progress because they are able to dance, sing, collaborate with their peers, and interact freely during virtual class time. Teachers and support staff are currently providing interventions in small group settings through Zoom. These small groups are essential for student learning, but would not be possible during in-person learning as we must remain 6 feet apart from our students at all times. While distance learning is not a perfect setting, it is a setting in which we are all safe and do not have to fear for our safety, the safety of our students, their families, and our own families. Some individuals that are eager to return to in-person learning want students to return to some type of normalcy. However, the reality is that going back into the classroom will no longer mean the normal. Many of us are familiar with and some are expecting. Classrooms will no longer consist of bright and colorful interactive focus walls, cooperative and engaging learning activities, or small group activities. Instead, it will be an environment that is not conducive to learning because students must remain seated behind their plexiglass cubicles at all times. This will be especially difficult for primary age students to do. Our youngest students learn through interactive hands-on activities and need to move around the classroom constantly. They will struggle the most with being expected to sit at their desks for extended periods, maintaining at least 6 feet away from their classmates or their teacher, not touching things in their classroom, and wearing their face coverings at all times. While older children have had the kindergarten experience where they learn to share and take turns, the proposed learning environment is not conducive to the learning modalities of younger children. This restrictive environment is not one that we should be rushing our students back into. We feel we should be investing our energy into positively engaging our students during distance learning. The district should be providing opportunities where student accomplishments are celebrated and student learning is encouraged in order to make this difficult times more manageable for students and their families. We ask that you please put the safety of your students, their families, your staff members, and their families first and vote to remain the distance learning for the remainder of the school year. Thank you for your consideration. Okay, the next speaker is Shelley Steininger. As we have seen in other states across the United States, they have made the decision to return to in-person learning only to be forced back to distance learning due to increasing COVID-19 cases. This creates further trauma for students, families, and teachers. Teachers and students are still recovering from the loss and lack of closure we experienced last March when we were abruptly removed from our classroom setting. We never got the opportunity to say goodbye to our students or to hug them and reassure them that everything was going to be okay. Our little ones never got a chance to say goodbye to their teachers and peers or to come to terms with having to leave their classrooms. Transitioning to a hybrid setting would only mean that some students will once again be abruptly removed from their class and placed in a different setting, whether it be distance learning or in-person learning. We have worked so hard to build relationships, make connections, and reassure our students that we are here for them even from a distance. It would be unfair to take that all away. As it is, we as teachers are coping with stress and anxiety from not only trying to meet the needs of our students through distance learning, but also trying to keep our families safe while living with the unknown. As professional educators, one of the biggest unknown factors is whether or not we will be required to return to in-person teaching in January, despite COVID-19 cases in our state increasing daily at an alarming rate. As a result, we are struggling with preparing for both distance learning and in-person learning without being able to entirely focus 100% of our efforts on one or the other. We know that San Bernardino and Burbank have put their community's safety first by announcing that they will remain in distance learning for the remainder of the school year. By doing this, they will now be able to focus on strengthening their existing distance learning plan instead of continuing with the uncertainty and stress of whether or not they will be returning to campus in January. Furthermore, with COVID-19 hospitalizations and death at an all-time high in California, we fear for our own lives and the well-being of our own families, our students, and their families. As Governor Newsom announced this week, Southern California's ICU capacity is projected to reach maximum capacity by mid to late December. It does not make sense to make plans to return to any type of in-person learning only a month later. Some of us are considered high risk due to our age and or pre-existing health conditions and fear for our lives. If we were to be required to return to in-person teaching amidst this pandemic, several of us have already been directly impacted by COVID-19 and fear of being impacted once again if we are exposed through in-person teaching. Many of us fear for the lives of at-risk family members that reside with us. We have elderly parents, grandparents, and immunocompromised family members who would be putting at risk of severe illness and even death if we were to return to our classrooms. The same can be said for students who have at-risk family members at home. We ask that you please put the safety of your students, their families, your staff members, and their families first and vote to remain in distance learning. Okay, the next speaker is Rebecca Buckhoff. Good evening. First, I would like to take a moment to thank Dr. Javiera, the Executive Cabinet, and the School Board of Moreno Valley Unified School District for giving me a moment to express my concerns. My name is Rebecca Buckhoff. I'm a graduate of Moreno Valley Schools, and I have worked in the district for 15 years. I believe in public education. I came to work here because I wanted to participate in the community in which I live and was raising a family. My children have attended and graduated from Moreno Valley Schools. Currently, my youngest is a student at Moreno Valley Online Academy. She began attending there last January. Prior to her transferring there, I was concerned by her academic progress. She was falling through the cracks. At the comprehensive high school, I met with the principal of MVUSD, Mr. Peoples, and I attended an orientation meeting with my daughter. At the time, Mr. Peoples emphasized the importance of independent work. I filled out paperwork for an independent studies contract. The contract stated that we chose independent study and we must be offered the alternative of classroom instruction. It has recently come to my attention that there is ambiguity as to whether Moreno Valley Online Academy A through G High School is an independent study program and whether its teachers are classified as independent study teachers. I would like you to consider clarifying the designation of MVUSD as an independent study program. This would mean that the teachers can continue to individualize planning and instruction. This would also prevent changes in designation and program that have not been approved by the school board. Moreno Valley Online Academy has been extremely successful for my daughter and for many other students. Through the Independent Study Online program, she has received differentiated instruction and personal attention from her teachers. Most importantly, she has regained confidence in her academic abilities. Next term, she plans on taking congruent courses at Moreno Valley College and is planning on attending a career in the medical field. This was not the situation 1 year ago. I'm especially thankful to her teachers, Mrs. Cherry, Mr. Chalukian, Ms. House, and Mr. Alcaraz for their dedication to their students and their hard work to ensure every child's success in being college and career ready after graduation. Thank you for your time. I hope as a parent I can receive communication and clarification about the independent study status of Moreno Valley Online Academy. Sincerely, Rebecca Buckhoff.
Is that it? Was that the last one, Claudia?
Yes, that was the last one, Dr. Locke.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Regina and Claudia.
My pleasure.
Okay, now we're going to move to public hearing item C1, public hearing and approval or denial of resolution number 2020-21-41, the petition for the Odeo Valley Charter School petition. Ms. Maddox, do you have information to provide regarding this item?
Thank you, Dr. Locke. I would like to introduce the presenters for this evening from Odeo Charter School, Mr. Wade Ashbrenner and Ms. Janelle Ruley. They have a presentation for us this evening. And Mr. Ashbrenner and Ms. Ruley, a reminder that you have 15 minutes for this presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Maddox.
Good evening. Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Maddox. Thank you, Superintendent Kezazoro and President Locke and members of the Moreno Valley Unified School Board. My name is Wade Ashbrenner. I'm joined tonight by Janelle Ruley, a member of the development team here at Odeo. Really tonight, what you have before you as members of the Moreno Valley Unified School Board is a unique opportunity to approve a school that already has a 20-year track record. The Moreno Valley Resource Center was originally a part of the Odeo Charter School, which was authorized by the San Diego Unified School District back in June of 2001. The Moreno Valley Resource Center operates as a legally adjacent county site in the Moreno Valley Unified School District. So it has been approved by San Diego Unified as part of Odeo Charter Schools renewal process. It is an independent study that serves grades 6 through 10. You can see a picture of the Moreno Valley site right there on the slide. So it is definitely a unique opportunity for the board tonight to have a school that already has a proven track record, fiscally sound and financially stable for the past 8 years in Moreno Valley. What we are proposing is we currently serve between 265 and 280 students in Moreno Valley. We are currently seeking the approval of a charter petition that would be capped at 280 students. So there really is no new fiscal impact happening with the district. The reason we're here is to comply with Assembly Bill 1507 and provide continuity and equity to the students who are already attending the program here in Moreno Valley. So again, I want to reiterate that this is an existing school with 280 students who need this type of program, who are engaged in their studies, and who have been able to have uninterrupted access to education during the pandemic. Up on this slide, what I have is the letter from the California Department of Education that allows for counties and districts to approve the non-classroom based adjacent county resource centers under AB 1507. So this is actually instruction for counties to put the interests of kids at the center of approving these adjacent county resource centers during the 1507 rewrite of the education code. This can also be found in Appendix AD within the charter petition. But again, I want to reiterate that this is an existing school. Students and families will be impacted by not authorizing the existing resource center within the boundaries of the Moreno Valley School District. Also, San Diego Unified has authorized the Odeo Charter School, which the Moreno Valley Resource Center was a part of for the past 8 years. Here's a letter stating this from Deidre Walsh, who's the director of the charter office with San Diego Unified. San Diego Unified School District is one of the oldest authorizers within the state of California. They've been authorizing charter schools since charter law was initially passed in the state of California back in 1992. They're very sophisticated authorizer with a high degree of integrity and rigor that they maintain for their schools that they authorize. So again, this is not a new school. This is not an unproven educational program. We're serving students within Moreno Valley and have been for the past 8 years. As far as the governance structure, Odeo Valley will be a directly funded independent charter school operated by the Odeo Charter School Corporation, which is a California nonprofit public benefit corporation. As part of the nonprofit, the 4 other schools that are operated by Odeo Charter School Corporation are Odeo 2, authorized by the State Board of Education, Grossmont Secondary School, authorized by the State Board of Education, Sweetwater Secondary School, authorized by the State Board of Education, and Odeo Charter School 3, which is authorized by Escondido Union High School District. As you can see, this is already a proven form of governance. It's a proven program recognized both at the state level by the State Board of Education, which also authorizes 3 of the schools, and by a local district in Escondido. So we do have experience in collaboration with local school districts, as well as collaboration with the state board and the California Department of Education. So again, I want to stress to the board members that this is a proven model. It's proven that it's been sustainable. It's proven that it's in the best interest of kids. What you get with our program, it is independent study. It's a custom-built course plan. It meets students where they are. It offers them a UC A through G list that allows them to go to college anywhere they want to go, whether that's in the state of California, whether that's outside the state of California, whether that's a community college, or whether that's straight into the world of work. They are prepared to exit their high school and move on to the next stage of life. We have highly engaged one-on-one instruction from our teachers in the Resource Center. Our teachers are specifically trained to offer one-on-one instruction, and also in collaboration with the San Diego County Office of Education, teachers within Odeo Valley and within Odeo have leading edge certification. Leading edge certification is a nationally recognized teacher preparation program that allows teachers to be highly skilled in delivering online and remote or / distance learning content. So the teachers that teach at Odeo Valley have already earned their leading edge certification. So even prior to the pandemic and distance learning taking place for all schools, whether they're charter schools, traditional schools, or independent study programs, our teachers were already highly trained in how to deliver that course content. So there was uninterrupted instruction and access to curriculum for our students. Again, it's so important to not just prepare students for graduation, but to prepare them for life after high school. And we take tremendous amount of time and energy in producing individual college and career planning for our students. We know that college isn't always the next step for students, but sometimes they want to go into the world of work, and we take time to find their skill set and their passion so that we can guide them as they leave us from high school. And also flexibility in programs. As anyone's learned during the pandemic, things don't happen 9 to 5 anymore. It's about flexibility and meeting the needs of students and families as they go forward. And so I'm now gonna turn it over to Janelle so she can talk a little bit about the fiscal impact and what's going on with continuing our charter school.
Thanks, Wade, and good evening to the board members and Superintendent Kaziora. My name is Janelle Rulli. I'm one of the attorneys with the law offices of Young, Minnie, and Core. So we're legal counsel for Odeo Valley. We really do appreciate the board's very careful consideration of this important school choice resource that's already serving the Moreno Valley students. I want to just underscore what Wade had said earlier. And we want to make sure that you understand that if you vote no on this charter, what you're doing is not voting to block a new charter school, but you're voting to actually close down an existing charter school. You would be closing down a program during a pandemic, which is, clearly been serving its students. So we explained in the charter, and we also explained it in writing to the district, Odeo Valley is an existing resource center of Odeo Charter School, which is again authorized by San Diego Unified. This resource center has operated lawfully in Moreno Valley's boundaries for 8 years. New legislation, though, requires us to seek authorization of the resource as a full charter school through Moreno Valley Unified. These new requirements come from AB 1507. That might be something that you've heard about, AB 1505 and AB 1507. The new law created for the first time this concept of a continuing charter school to describe all similarly situated resource centers that are essentially becoming full charter schools. A continuing school, if it's approved, will not be deemed a new charter school by the Department of Education. Instead, it gets a CDS code, but it really stays in the funding stream similar to how it was already, and it is not considered a new school. It's more like an existing school. So for this reason, the district doesn't actually have legal grounds to use the new reasons to deny a charter petition, specifically whether or not the charter school serves the interest of the community. This reason for denial includes a consideration of fiscal impact. The new law, again, this is AB 1505, is very clear that this reason for denial applies only to new charter schools. And since Odeo Valley is a continuing charter school, this ground cannot be used to deny the charter. Further, even if it could be used, Odeo Valley is actually not having any fiscal impact on the district, not any new fiscal impact anyway. The school has been here for 8 years. Enrollment projections are steady at 280 students for the charter term, and that's in line with enrollment since the resource center opened. There is no fiscal impact on the district, even if that were a reason to deny. Contrary to negative fiscal impact, actually, authorizing Odeo Valley will lead the district to continue to gain students after the charter school redirects them into the district programs. The district will also gain oversight and oversight fees by authorizing the charter school. So we strongly urge you to follow the law and to vote to approve this charter, and I'll turn it back over to Wade.
Thank you, Janelle. As you may be familiar with the dashboard alternative school status, Odeo is a dashboard alternative school status, meaning 70% of our students are in a high-risk category, whether that's habitually truant, credit deficient, or a high level of transiency, meaning they've attended 3 or more schools during their high school time. So as you can see, we serve some of the neediest students within the Moreno Valley communities. And not having that option of coming to Odeo Valley, they're headed probably towards dropping out. And as Janelle referred to, our program is designed to work collaboratively with the districts that authorize us to redirect those students that can come to our program, which is a 12-month program, work to become, to catch up on credits, and then return to their school and graduate from their traditional home school. That's definitely within the program at Odeo Valley. And we always encourage students to do what's in their best interest and take advantage of maybe some specialized programs that the district has, especially when it comes to CTE programs. As you can see, the importance of being a DOS school and personalized instruction is that you have high academic achievement for your students. And Odeo has outperformed comparable dashboard alternative schools in both the Smarter Balance assessments in English and mathematics, and also exceeds the average DOS schools in both San Diego and Riverside County for the academic indicators in English language arts and math. We continue to have a graduation rate that exceeds the statewide average. We do have a 6-year clear credential from WASP, which is the highest clear credential certification you can have for the school. And we had a dropout rate that was below 3% for students that come to us 2 to 3 years behind in math and 1 to 2 years behind in reading. Also, I don't know if it was just an oversight by the staff, but they do make mention of our A through G list. While Odeo Valley doesn't have a through G list yet because it's not a existing school yet, both Odeo, Odeo 2, and Odeo 3 all have existing A through G lists that you can be found on the UC Doorways website. All our language, foreign language courses are approved for A through G, as well as CTE courses are approved for A through G. So we just wanted to point that out, that if you did read the findings report from staff, they talk about the A through G list. Our A through G list is very complete and allows our students to transition to a 4-year university directly from Odeo Valley. Also, one of the findings was how technology is integrated into the culture and academic coursework at Odeo Valley. While not specifically a requirement of the charter petition, it really takes place in 3 areas. Obviously, there's the hardware, there's the Chromebooks, there's the devices, there's the connectivity that takes place, but it's also built into our resource centers with 3D printers, virtual spaces, also Edgenuity curriculum, Pearson Math, Khan Academy. Obviously, there's a lot of online curriculum and online resources and technology-rich culture within our schools. Kids come first. That's part of our vision and mission. And we seek to have a true partnership with the Moreno Valley School District and provide an essential option for students. And many of the findings pointed out by staff can easily be addressed through MOU or simply by some dialogue. So we urge you to definitely approve the charter petition. And in summary, given the strength and experience of our development team, the expertise of our teachers, and the need for the program within the Moreno Valley community, we feel that none of the findings are insurmountable in the staff report, and that a yes vote is in the best interest of the students and families within Moreno Valley. And I urge you to vote yes in support of this petition. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for the extensive report. May I now have a motion to open the public hearing on a charter petition for Odeo Valley Charter School?
Actually, Dr. Locke,
Yes.
I don't know if Miss Maddox was gonna.
Okay, okay.
I don't know if Miss Maddox, were you gonna?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. First of all, I do appreciate the team from Odeo Valley Charter for being with us this evening and making your presentation. Thank you. According to our usual protocols, a team of district administrators reviewed the Odeo Valley Charter petition and worked with legal counsel to prepare findings of fact and make a recommendation for board action. The findings of fact were posted on the district's website on November 16th, 2020, in compliance with AB 1505 and 1507. One of our attorneys, Mr. Chris Keeler, is here with us this evening. Will present you a resolution for your consideration. So, Mr. Keeler, I turn it over to you.
Maddox, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So I'll review the draft position resolution that was put together by the district and then briefly comment on the findings of fact. And then I can answer any procedural questions and Ms. Maddox answer any questions related to the educational program. So the resolution that we are putting before you is the petition, and I will read it. Whereas the approval of charter schools is governed by the Charter Schools Act of 1992, as subsequently amended, codified in Education Code Section 7600 at SEEK, and the implementing regulations of Title V of the California Code of Regulations. Whereas on September 23rd, 2020, the Moreno Valley Unified School District received the petition for the Odeo charter school. Whereas a public hearing on the petition was held on October 27th, 2020, at which time the governing board of the district considered the level of support for the petition by teachers employed by the district, other employees of the district, and parents and guardians. Whereas the governing board published staff recommendations, including the recommended findings regarding the petition on November 16th, 2020. Whereas the governing board has convened on December 1st, 2020 to consider whether to grant or deny the petition. Whereas approval of a charter petition is governed by the standards and criteria set forth in Education Code Section 47605 and implementing regulations. Whereas Education Code Section 47605 subdivision C prohibits the governing board from denying a charter petition unless it makes written factual findings specific to the particular petition, setting forth specific facts to support one or more of the following findings as applicable. The charter school presents an unsound educational program for the students to be enrolled in the charter school. The petitioners are demonstrably unlikely to successfully implement the program set forth in the petition. The petition does not contain the number of signatures required by Education Code Section 47605, subdivision A. The petition does not contain an affirmation of each of the conditions described in Education Code Section 47605, subdivision E. The petition does not contain reasonably comprehensive descriptions of all elements required in Education Code Section 47605, subdivision C5. The petition does not contain a declaration of whether or not the charter school shall be deemed the exclusive public employer of the employees of the charter school. The charter school is demonstrably unlikely to serve the interests of the entire community in which the school is proposing to locate, and the school district is not positioned to absorb the financial impact of the proposed charter school. Whereas the district has reviewed and analyzed the petition and supporting documents for legal sufficiency and has identified deficiencies and concerns related to the petition, and recommends that the governing board adopt the findings of fact attached hereto as Exhibit A, and I'll do a parenthetical, that's what was published on November 16th. Continuing, and included herein by this reference, and deny the petition. And whereas the findings of fact are not intended to serve as an exhaustive list of each issue and or deficiency identified in the petition and supporting documents, but rather are meant to describe those deficiencies that are of the significant concern to the district and which provide legally sufficient grounds to deny the petition. Therefore, be it resolved that the governing board of the Moreno Valley Unified School District hereby adopts the findings of fact attached to Tier 2 as Exhibit A and denies the petition to establish the Odeo Valley Charter School. Now, I'm going to address some of the findings of fact, if I can get my computer to show it. I'm not going to read all of the findings of fact. I read the entire resolution. Those findings of fact are noted, published on November 16th, and provided in advance of this meeting. I point out, among other things, the findings identified deficiencies in the educational program, the special education program, programs for English learners, and with the charter school's budget and fiscal plan. SB 98 recently changed to 47605, adding that a finding that a proposed charter school, quote, is demonstrably unlikely to serve the interests of the entire community in which the school is proposing to locate shall include, quote, consideration of the fiscal impact of the proposed charter school, close quote, and, quote, detail specific facts and circumstances that analyze and consider the following factors: the extent to which the proposed charter school would substantially undermine existing services, academic offerings, or programmatic offerings, and B, whether the proposed charter school would duplicate a program currently offered within the school district and the existing program has sufficient capacity for the pupils proposed to be served within reasonable proximity to where the charter school intends to locate. Section 5 of the findings addresses these issues, and I will read that. It states, proposed fiscal impact. District enrollment is declining, having dropped by over 1,800 students, that's over 5%, since the 2014-15 school year. This trend is projected to continue and may be exacerbated by establishment of the charter school. Moreover, if 280 district students enrolled in the charter school, the district would lose access to approximately $3.2 million in revenues for the 2021-2022 school year, $11,422 local control funding formula for average daily attendance multiplied by 280. That's how we came up with that figure, and up to a similar amount for each of the 4 years thereafter, depending on the number of new students enrolling in the charter school each year. B, undermining and duplication of district programs. The charter school would substantially undermine existing services or academic or programmatic offerings, duplicate programs currently offered within the district. The district offers several alternative education programs, including the Moreno Valley Online Academy, MVUSD. Since fall 2013, MVUSD has offered the following: a blended learning model that provides online independent study and the opportunity to attend school in small class sizes 1 to 5 times per week, as well as one-on-one support throughout the week. Students have the opportunity to take honors, AP, and CTE classes and to participate in extracurricular activities such as sports, ROTC, band, theater, and ASB. Students in grades 9 through 12 may take dual enrollment courses in partnership with Moreno Valley College. An individualized learning plan for each student is developed in collaboration with the student and his or her parents, guardians, teachers, and counselors, and allows flexible scheduling and credit recovery and credit acceleration options. Additional support is available for students, including ELs, special education students, foster youth engaged in distance learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. Academically rigorous core curriculum that allows students to pursue academic standards and a path to a 4-year university. MVUSD is accredited through WASC, and courses satisfy CSU and UC A through G requirements. MVUSD works with students through the California College Guidance Initiative to help students investigate careers in colleges and apply for financial opportunities to subsidize their school goals. Assessment of students using CASP, IABs, NWEA MAP assessments, and Illuminate. MVUSD evaluates this data as well as academic and attendance data to assess areas where students need additional support. Communication with parents and guardians through phone calls, emails, and online learning platform and student information system. Teachers really know their students and parents so communication is effective in supporting student learning. Parent and community groups that work with students then focus on achieving goals and pursuing their interests after high school, and monthly professional development opportunities for staff. Like the charter school, MVUSD is available to all students, but serves a large percentage of students who are academically high risk or credit deficient, or who did not find success in a comprehensive school setting. In addition, MVUSD serves students in grades 6 through 12, as well as students in grades TK through 5. MVUSD has sufficient capacity for the students proposed to be served within reasonable proximity to where the charter school intends to locate. MVUSD currently serves 270 students and can be expanded to accommodate any additional number of students as necessary. Based on the foregoing, it is unclear how, as stated in the petition, Odeo Valley will differ from MVUSD and other alternative education settings provided by the district due to its unique instructional model and innovative, safe, and non-traditional academic environment. Although the petition indicates that Odeo outperforms MVUSD and other alternative education settings provided by the district on several academic achievement and engagement indicators, the data provided for the charter school, is for Odeo Charter School 3 in San Diego, and it's not disaggregated to reflect only the performance of students attending the Moreno Valley Resource Center, which is the location the petitioners now propose to establish as a charter school. Moreover, for the 1920 school year, MVUSD's graduation rate has increased while its suspension rate decreased to 0%. In the 2018-19 school year, the CAS scores of MVUSD students increased. Testing did not occur in the 1920 school year due to the COVID pandemic. So that completes my review of the proposed resolution and a brief description of some of the findings of fact. If you have any procedural questions, I'm happy to field those. And again, if you have programmatic or education program related questions, Maribel Maddox is also prepared to field those.
Thank you, Mr. Keeler. Mrs. Maddox, do you have more to add? You're muted.
Got it. I'd just like to add that the district team is in agreement and support of the resolution to deny this charter petition. Also, I would like to add that MVUSD is part of a comprehensive system that we have in our district for alternative education, which also includes a continuation high school and a community day school. So would like for the board's approval, request the board's approval on this resolution.
Claudia, I have a procedural question. We move to public hearing, or does the board now have the opportunity for comments and questions?
Dr. Locke, I think you do the public hearing and then the questions and at the end after you hear the public speak.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now this time, again, thank you for our speakers. So thank you, Mr. Keeler, for your information. At this time, do I have a motion to open the public hearing on the charter petition for Odeo Valley Charter School?
I move to open the public hearing.
Okay, second?
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye. Mr.
Hogan?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Dr. Locke?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. At this time, do we have any public speakers or comments?
Dr. Locke, we do have a total of 8 speakers, all of them calling in.
Okay.
And let me share my screen for the timer.
Okay.
It won't let me resume. Let me stop sharing again. Okay. Apologize for that. All right, our first speaker is Kavika Watson. Do we have Kavika Watson on the line?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You have 3 minutes. You'll see the timer on, and it'll beep as soon as 30 seconds, and then it'll have a long beep once the 3 minutes are over. Go ahead and start.
Hi, my name is Kavika Watson, and I'm an 11th grader at Odeo Charter School, Moreno Valley Resource Center. I have been attending since the middle of my freshman year. There are many reasons why I like going to Odeo, but I will keep it to just a couple of reasons. The first is that it has been a safe and quiet environment for me to learn in and focus on my work without any distractions, especially negative distractions. The main reason myself and my brother, who has graduated from Odeo in 2019, went to Odeo was because, unfortunately, there were problems where we both were not safe in the district school grounds because there are students who look for fights or to cause trouble. Myself and my brother are not those kids. Second, I have been able to work at a pace that helps me learn the content I need to learn, especially when it comes to math, because that was my weaker area, but now it is not. I am successfully mastering math. Now I can talk to my teacher when I need something explained, and I can take the time I need to learn the harder math concepts. Just to add a side note that is important to mention, I am actually ahead in my classes and now moving at a faster pace to graduate early. And furthermore, the impact of school closure due to the pandemic has not affected me in my education, with no learning loss in my subjects, which is also very important to note because I did not lose any academic time. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of Odeo Charter School because this school has given me so much more confidence, and please consider approving the petition for Odeo Valley Charter School.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ana Maria Rojas. Ana Maria Rojas, are you on the line?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. You have, Rojas, I'm sorry. You have 3 minutes to speak. I'll have a timer on and you'll hear a beep with the 30 seconds and then a longer beep once the time is up, okay?
Got it.
Go ahead and start.
Thank you so much. I'm chair of the English Learner Achievement Department at Odeo. And while there are many instructional models across the nation to meet the academic and language needs of English learners, here at Odeo, we pride ourselves in fully personalizing the language development and content mastery experience for our English learners through a structured English immersion program. You might wonder, what does this look like? From the first day of enrollment, teachers provide personalized courses with integrated English language development, or ELD, based on LPAC scores, the state assessment, NWA reports, and formative assessment data. For every course, teachers will use the breadth of ELD instructional tools, including literacy programs like Achieve 3000, BrainPop ELL, ListenWise, Actively Learn, small group instruction, and one-on-one tutoring to ensure that our English learner students are learning the content standards while developing their language proficiency. Teachers will take each class and strategically customize it based on the student's language strengths and areas of development. Our program also offers customizable courses for designated ELD for all proficiency levels. So whether a learner is a recent newcomer or has been a long-term English learner, we have literacy courses and personalized instruction to make grade level courses accessible. This is all supported by continuous professional development in which teachers are required to participate throughout the year, where we collaborate and further refine our implementation and integration of the ELA-ELD framework so that our students are completing their graduation requirements and developing their language simultaneously. Odeo has also been able to support English learners in a fully distance learning model, not just due to the curriculum customization options, but also thanks to one-on-one virtual tutoring, literacy circles, and small group tutoring in all content areas. Our school quickly mobilized to ensure our students had access to technology at home after the stay-at-home order, so our students did not miss days of instruction, and our teachers quickly mastered the use of technology tools to continue our instructional support. Our English learners have access and support to all curriculum, including honors and AP courses, leadership development programs, and CTE pathways. We further engage our EL students through the strong home-to-school partnership that we establish with all families. We are intentional in providing accessible school communication with translated materials, phone calls, bilingual virtual meetings with subtitles in multiple languages, and we seek to empower parents and guardians to work with us as partners in the academic success of their students. In our schools, we value the wealth of culture and diversity that our English learner families bring and are determined to fully fulfill our mission of transforming lives with the student population. We strongly believe in equitable access to education, and we're committed to this effort in our ELD program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Catherine Rambo. Catherine Rambo, do we have you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Ms. Rambo, this is Claudia. You have 3 minutes to speak. You will hear a beep once you have about 30 seconds left, and then a longer beep once your time is up. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Catherine Rambo, and I'm the Curriculum and Professional Development Coordinator at Odeo Charter School. I'm here tonight to address the findings of the charter petition that relate to curriculum. While I will be addressing each point from the findings, it's important to note that none of the findings are factual and are an impermissible basis of denial of the charter petition according to Ed Code Section 47605C. Beginning with the finding related to the UC A through G list, as Wade stated earlier, that Odeo Valley Charter School does not currently have an established UC A through G list because it's yet to be approved as a school. Odeo Charter School, however, does have a robust UC approved course list that includes all of its world language courses, the majority of the VAPA courses, and the majority of the CTE courses. In addition, students who indicate that they are on the 4-year college pathway receive a personalized UC A through G college prep course plan to satisfy the freshman requirements for both UC and CSU admission, as stated in the charter petition. Moving to the finding related to textbooks and our GATE program. As referenced in the charter petition, all textbooks are formally adopted and reviewed through a rigorous selection process that includes subject matter experts, teachers, and school administrators. Curriculum is then created aligned to Common Core state standards, next generation science standards, and embedded with the ELD standards. Plus, they take into account the current content frameworks established by the CDE for each content area. The GATE certification that's offered at Odeo Charter School and will be continued at Odeo Valley is an approved course using current course textbooks for Cal State San Marcos through a partnership with the Southern California Professional Development Federation. The current GATE plan was created based on CDE's GATE resource guide from 2005. The recency of the books and journals referenced in the GATE plan from the charter petition is more current than the books and resources referenced in the CDE's guidance for GATE programs. Lastly, with the finding related to the CTE capstone and concentration courses as it relates to CCI, Odeo Valley plans to provide multiple programs and pathways to prepare and support students with college and career readiness, as it currently provides through Odeo Charter School. The CTE concentration and capstone courses for career pathways are listed in the course catalog that was provided in the charter petition in Appendix AA. The Odeo Valley Charter Petition meets the criteria for charter approval, and I urge you to approve the charter petition. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Paul Miney or Meany. Paul, are you on the line?
I am, thank you.
Thank you. Paul, you have 3 minutes. You will hear a beep when you have about 30 seconds left, and then a longer beep when your time is up. Go ahead and begin.
Thank you. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board and the superintendent. My name is Paul Miney. I'm additional legal counsel with the Odeo Valley Charter School. I'm also part of the development team, and I've been practicing charter school law for 27 years, having drafted the 5th charter in the state back in 1993, and having worked on hundreds and hundreds of charter petitions since that time. Just wanted to let you know that our team thoroughly and exhaustively reviewed this charter petition, and it easily meets the letter of the law. In truth, this charter equals or exceeds many of the charters that have been approved by the State Board of Education under its exacting standards. Most of the findings the staff have made are demanding a higher level of detail in the charter petition than are required by law. And any of the concerns that have been raised could easily be addressed in a negotiated memorandum of understanding between the parties. And as noted by Janelle Ruley, my colleague, the fiscal impact and duplication of program that was emphasized by your legal counsel tonight is not a lawful basis for denying this continuing charter. There are 3 types of charters: new charters, renewal charters, and continuing charters. The standards that have been relied upon and referred to by your legal counsel are not standards that apply to a continuing charter in this circumstance. They only apply to renewal charter. In fact, you can see that in the fact that There is no fiscal impact in the next school year for this particular school on your charter, as the students are already, many of them have already left district programs and have enrolled in the charter school and would continue there in the following year. In approving this charter tonight, you'd be actually setting an extremely high bar for future charter petitions, as this is clearly one of the gold standards of charter petitions. I've been working with these charter operators for over 20 years, and these operators are of the highest caliber operators in the state of California by way of integrity and transparency. As Wade noted, this presents a rare opportunity for the board to review a charter that's currently operating. In this way, you're able to have confidence that the operator is providing a high caliber academic program that's fiscally sound. There's no leap of faith here. Indeed, as Wade noted, this program is one that's been in operation for almost 20 years and has received 3 unanimous approvals by the San Diego Unified School District. A yes vote, as you've noted, will retain this program for the at-risk students it's serving well. And as a reminder, the California Charter Schools Act states that the establishment of charter schools should be encouraged. A no vote, as noted, would likely close this school and displace 280 students and their families, adding to the stress of these already at-risk students in the middle of a pandemic, and should be highly discouraged. I respectfully request, along with the remainder of the team, that you approve the continuation of this school by voting yes to approve the Odeo Valley Charter petition. And thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Trevor Godledge. Mr. Trevor, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Mr. Trevor, you have 3 minutes. You will hear one beep when you have about 30 seconds left, and then a longer beep once your time has up.
Okay,
Go ahead and start.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Trevor Gollage. I'm in my 10th year of teaching with Odeo Charter School. I've been teaching within the Moreno Valley Resource Center since the year it opened in 2012. I've always worked with an amazing staff that puts students first in all aspects. Our staff works diligently to foster a positive, welcoming environment to help students regain confidence and motivation. This is one of the many reasons why students in our community choose to enroll with Odeo. I'm proud to have helped guide so many students towards academic success while still holding them to rigorous standards. It is truly a testament to our program that we have helped so many students catch up on credits and earn their diploma. I've witnessed the growing partnership between our school and the local high school since 2012. Since my first year, I've been able to work directly with the counselors at Vista del Lago and Valley View High School to present about our program and advise their students. These counselors and our staff have been working together for the betterment of students in our community. These repeated requests to participate in these presentations year after year by your counselors show that we are recognized as a viable option for our students and families that are not having their needs met. The counselors at your high school see the benefit of our program and have continued to promote us as an option. These students were often credit deficient by several grade levels and are given a second chance when they enroll with our school. Further partnerships that we've been able to establish have greatly benefited these students in our shared community. We have regular presentations at our resource center from the Moreno Valley Police Department and the Fire Department, as well as established partnerships with March Air Force Base, Altura Credit Union, RCC, and Moreno Valley College, Moreno Valley Public Library, and the City of Moreno Valley Parks Department. These partnerships not only show that Odeo is here to serve the community, but that the community is supporting our program because they see the value that we're able to provide students. At Odeo, kids truly come first, and this remains true in every aspect of our organization. Every day, I see students in our community becoming believers in their own education and finding new motivation that keeps them engaged and successful. These kids and this community know that they are in good hands when they enroll with Odeo. I ask you to please approve the Odeo Valley Charter petition so that all students can have the same opportunity to succeed in their education, and we can continue to make an impact on our shared community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sharnita Moore. Ms. Moore, are you on the line?
I am.
Thank you. Ms. Sharnita, you have 3 minutes. You will hear a beep when you have about 30 seconds left, and then you'll have a louder beep once your 3 minutes are up. You may begin now.
Hello, my name is Sharnita Moore. I am the counselor at Odeo Charter School, Moreno Valley Resource Center. I have been in this role for almost 2 years, and this is my 14th year as an educator within our organization. In my role as an administrator, I worked on site 5 days a week before the COVID pandemic. I worked very closely on a daily basis with students, parents, teachers, and staff to support the goals and aspirations of our students. I attended IEP meetings and student success interventions, as well as other events where we opened our Resource Center doors several times each year to parents and guest speakers for open house, career week, and senior grad nights. I also supported students by monitoring credit completion and student enrollment and records. During the pandemic, I have continued working in this capacity. I continue to meet virtually with students and parents to support their success and to share opportunities and resources for college and career readiness and financial aid. Each day, I work to make sure our school-wide policies and procedures, as well as our mission, vision, and values are carried out, even while working remotely. As a member of the Resource Center staff, I am also responsible for ensuring the effectiveness of our safety plan. This is a team effort. We have measures in place to support students and staff in response to various emergencies, including fires, earthquakes, lockdowns, or other incidents in or outside of the Resource Center. Our emergency exit plan is clearly posted, and our safety plans are shared with all staff members who also frequently update student emergency contacts. Our safety ambassador does monthly fire extinguisher and EpiPen checks, and also keeps our first aid and bloodborne pathogen kits stocked. As a staff, we actively monitor guests and control the flow of visitors in and out of the Resource Center through locked doors. As a safety precaution, we have only one entrance through which staff, students, and guests may enter. Each member of our staff also receives thorough annual training in the procedures to handle youth mental health emergencies, the timely reporting of suspected child abuse or neglect, accidents, medical emergencies requiring the use of an EpiPen or first aid, and bloodborne contamination. I'm happy to share that to date, we have not had any safety incidents at our Resource Center because of the effectiveness of our safety plan. These are just a few of the reasons for our strong safety rating when families were asked if they feel our Resource Center is a safe environment. We overwhelmingly receive positive feedback from students and families that we offer a fresh and new experience for education, and that there is a need for our school in the community. Together, we hope to carve a path to success for all students in the Moreno Valley community. I thank you for your time, and I ask that you approve our Odeo Valley Charter petition.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Arlene McGowan. Arlene, are you on the line?
I'm here, thank you.
Hi, Arlene. Just to let you know, you have 3 minutes to speak. You will hear a beep when you have about 30 seconds left, and then you'll have a longer beep when your 3 minutes are up. You may begin now.
Good evening. My name is Arlene McGowan, and I'm a member of the development team for Odeo Valley Charter School. Odeo Valley is deemed a continuing charter school in which the Moreno Valley Resource Center is part of Odeo Charter School. All data in the petition is from Odeo Charter School, and we are uncertain why the district findings indicate Odeo Charter School 3. Academic outcomes from students at the Moreno Valley Resource Center has contributed to the overall academic achievements for Odeo. These achievements include the following. Odeo outperformed comparable DOS schools. School students may otherwise attend in the district or community served in the Smarter Balanced summative assessments in ELA and math in both distance from standard and proficiency rates. Odeo also exceeds the San Diego and Riverside County DOS schools' average distance from standard performance in ELA and math on the California School Dashboard, and exceeds the state DOS schools' average performance by 80 to 100 points in ELA and 75 to 90 points in math for all students in significant student groups. Despite having students enter the school on average 1 to 3 grade levels behind in English and math, Odeo students continue to meet their NWEA measures of academic progress growth targets. Odeo re-engages its students and continues to increase its participation rate, exceeding the school's LCAP targets for all students and student groups. In the last 4 years, Odeo has graduated over 500 students, many who were not on track to graduate. And as a DOS school, Odeo maintains a low one-year dropout rate below 3% for all students in significant student groups. These accomplishments are evidenced in the petition and highlight Odeo's history of being a high-performing DOS charter school that serves this at-risk student population. Odeo's Moreno Valley Resource Center has served over 970 students from the Moreno Valley community since 2012 and intends to maintain its projected enrollment at levels no higher than what the Resource Center has historically already served. The Resource Center has also redirected more than 275 students back to the district. Without the Odeo program, many of these redirected students would potentially have become dropouts. Odeo Valley helps the district reduce their dropout rate, and when the students are redirected back to the district, it helps them gain enrollment and average daily attendance. It is very clear that Odeo Valley Charter School will not impact the district fiscally, but more importantly, the Resource Center has been serving the interests of the community since 2012. Please approve the Odeo Valley Charter School petition. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last speaker, Dr. Locke, we have Marva Gandhi. Marva, are you on the line? Yeah. Marva Gandhi, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Marva, you have 3 minutes to speak. You will hear a beep once you have about 30 seconds left, and then you'll have a longer beep when your time is up. You may begin now.
So for me, I just want to speak on how Odeo has impacted my family. 2 years ago, we was in a situation, my husband was really sick, and my children were already, emotionally suffering, dealing with the public school system and how overcrowded classrooms, other students, not being so nice and not too much attention, one-on-one attention coming from coming from the teachers. So taking my children and transitioning them into Odeo was just a breath of fresh air. Mainly my oldest son, who graduated this year, Samad Gandhi. He really was suffering and just really came to me and told me that he could no longer sit in public school setting anymore because of the distraction. So once I placed him in Odeo, it was just, his grades just soared. And it was just a totally different child. He succeeded, and Mr. Kitson being his support, Ms. Martinez, and the environment was totally different. It was quiet. I'd never seen children unruly or, anything that I've had witnessed in the public school setting. So, and I currently have 3 children that's there and that would be there until they graduate. And just the one-on-one, the intimate relationship that the teachers share with the children is really, like they really care, and checking in and being consistent is has been my experience. And so then the convenience of it, just not being too far from our home, and just really just having that balance is what we shared as a family, and it just worked for us. So this is being how my children are. It just really worked for my family because they're just already children who's quiet and just want to just do their work and really understand what the teacher is saying and explaining to them without any distraction. So that's pretty much what my experience been. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. And I'm just asking, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gandhi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's the end of our speakers, Connie?
Yes, that was our last speaker, Dr. Locke.
Okay, if there's no other public speakers or comments, at this time, to close the public hearing on the charter petition for the Odeo Valley Charter School.
I move to close the public hearing.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Dean,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Peden, Dr. Locke.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Okay, at this time, do you have any comments or questions pertaining to the Odeo Valley Charter School?
I have a couple of things to say. You know, when I was looking over the people that they serve, foster youth, as you know, we have more foster youth in Moreno Valley Unified School District than any other school district in Riverside County. We have a lot of foster youth, yet I didn't see any foster youth attending Odeo Valley Charter School at all. So I don't know where that goes, but I should think that if they wanted to take a cross section of Moreno Valley, there's certainly some foster youth would be included there. Also, it seems to me like this is a huge duplication of services. We have many, many alternative programs in Moreno Valley High School. We worked with students at all schools on a credit recovery system. Plus we have, of course, our continuation school, our community day school, and the Mavoa Online Academy, which does online and does individual assistance and does individual programs for students. I just, as I was looking over the presentation, I didn't see anything available at Odeo that we don't already offer here in Moreno Valley. Also, they said there are no growth, but in the last 4 years, they had 227 students, 261 students, 264 students, and now 283. For me, that looks like growth. I don't know what other people would say to that, but I think that is growth. It might be modest growth. I think they started in the 12-13 school year with 150 students. Now gradually they have moved up to 283. So, you know, anyway, I look at that, that's growth. Perhaps my math isn't right there with yours, but okay. I would like to thank Ms. Maddox and her staff, as well as Mr. Keeler and the other people that work with him that have put together this fantastic presentation that we've heard tonight. So thank you to everyone who participated. Thank you to Odeo Charter School for your presentation. I enjoyed seeing what you offer and see what you think maybe are things that we could continue to offer. We also, of course, offer both at our regular schools and at our alternative education programs. We offer career readiness as well as A through D programs. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Other comments, questions?
Dr. Locke, I do have a quick question, and then I do have some comments as it relates to the presentation today, if I may.
Yes.
Quick question. I think that, I mean, so in my view, I think outcomes and what we do as a public educational institution, clearly we educate our community. We educate our students and our young people here in our community. And in order to be successful in that area, we have to be connected to that community. That is a very, very important piece to that equation. And a lot of times that connection is the simple fact that we have a board of education holds this institution accountable. And the Board of Education is held by the public. And so my question to you all, Odeo Charter Schools, is why is it that you chose to come to Moreno Valley? What is your connection to this community? Corporation, it's really important for me to understand exactly why you decided to come here to pursue your mission.
Well, great question. Thank you, Daryl. First of all, we're a public nonprofit corporation. We're not a private corporation. Those aren't allowed in the state of California for authorizing charter schools. So we are a public benefit nonprofit. Our mission and vision is to work with the students who are most disengaged and need the type of program that we offer. As Board Member Smith mentioned, foster youth, homelessness, part of the community that we serve. And so that is really what we looked at when we looked to open a resource center. Obviously, the fact that There was students who wanted an alternative choice. As choice is how we get students, they come to us. There's no district boundaries that they're mandated to attain to. So really, our mission and vision is to transform lives and put kids at the center of our educational program. And so what drew us there is just the high need of students that have, whether they're socioeconomically disadvantaged or language learners, there's definitely needs within the community that we felt our program fit with that.
And just for clarification, what's your corporation status in terms of
the public nonprofit, public benefit corporation?
Okay, so is that a 501c? What is that exactly?
Yeah, 501c3.
501c3. Okay. Private nonprofit. Okay, call it what you want. It's a corporation. So first, I'd like to just point out that I think in the a lot of the responses from Odeo is the California Education Code 47605C, arguing the fact that there are grounds for the our public education institution to encourage charter schools. But I'd like to just go ahead and make sure that we a very important piece of that code. And so I'd like to do that in all my statements, just so there's clarification of exactly what we're talking about in our job as a Board of Education. The governing board of the school district shall grant a charter for the operation of a school under this part if it is satisfied that granting the charter is consistent with sound educational practice and with the interest of the community in which the school is proposed to locate. The governing board of the school district shall consider the academic needs of the pupils the school proposes to serve. Therefore, I want to thank staff for doing your due diligence in the interest of students in our community. It is clear to me that our staff report presented in the facts and findings shows that Odeo Charter School is deficient in many areas required to adequately serve our students here in our community. In addition, cost and the real total cost of a charter school would be significant to the very public education institution that serves the students of our community, the very foundation of our community. For cited in the facts and findings, I will not be supporting this charter school petition. My vote will be to deny this petition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Payton. Any other comments from board members?
Mr.
Johnson?
Yes, I have one. So I'm the elephant in the room, so I may as well ask you my question. Well, thank you guys very much for a lot of good information there. My left ear, I kept waiting to hear something about the African-American students. I don't recall hearing, I don't think I recall hearing anything. I may have, maybe I missed it, but I was keeping notes. The only reason I mention that is because we pride ourselves in doing everything that we can for all of our students, more especially those that help. I've used this analogy before, and I'm going to use it again, and because you guys haven't heard it. But one of the things that, and I have praise to our superintendent, but one of the things that we've done here in Moreno Valley to back up what I just asked you, you can perhaps tell me when we get done, but our superintendent went out and recruited kids to participate in an activity that they don't normally participate in. But the reason he did that is because he wanted to make sure that all of his students got the same equal opportunities, even though they were there. If you don't know anything about it, in other words, if you are a swimmer and you don't, if you swim, but you don't know anything about swimming, you probably won't even go out for the swim team. Or if you you want to be an attorney, but you have no clue of what you should do, or what kind of class you should take, and those kinds of things. So the reason I mentioned that is because I kept waiting to hear, something about the African Americans, and I didn't hear it. I didn't hear that unless you said something and I just missed it. And again, the only reason I'm bringing that up is number one, I'm thinking you probably want a certain segment, but the other segment, you know, we'll take them, but we don't have any kind of special programs to help them to do better than they are doing in public schools. I hope I'm making some kind of sense here. But bottom line is, we want to make sure all of our students, especially those who probably have low self-esteem or what have you, or maybe not doing so well in school, but we want to make sure that we bring them up like we bring up everybody else. And we have to work a little harder to do that. And we're proud that we're doing that. So if you want to answer that, you can, but I'm just wondering, you know, what are you guys doing about that? Because you didn't address that.
I would say we have a diverse program. The enrollment at the Moreno Valley Resource Center for African American students is 13.6%, and according to the latest CalPADS data for the district, the district is 13.2%. So we have identical percentages almost. We exceed the district a little bit in our African American student population, and our teachers develop the one-on-one relationships with all their students, regardless of race or socioeconomic status, and work with those families to provide the supports that those kids need on an individual basis. And our goal is to take them as far and as big in the world as they can go, and provide them the supports while they're here, and teach them the skills that they need to leave our school and go out and be successful contributing citizens. That's why we view it as transforming lives. And if you transform one life and you keep doing that over and over again, you've transformed the community. And that's really at the heart of what our mission and vision is that we put kids first, and we work really, really hard, as you said, to transform those lives and eventually transform the community. So yes, African-American students are definitely a part of Odeo and Odeo Valley. So.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
But that's not what I was looking for, but that's good. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Johnson?
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Holguin, you wanting to make comments?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Locke. Thank you so much. First thing I'd like to say thank you to the charter school representatives and for their petition and their desire to provide services to students in our community, and for the presentation this evening. Thank you so much for that, for putting it together and bringing all the data that you brought. I also want to thank Maribel Maddox and her team, and in fact the entire district team, because I know there's an extensive team reviewing the documentation, including, of course, Chris Killer, that assisted in that review. So thank you to everyone that had anything to do with the review process from one side and the other. There's several things in the petition that caught my attention, but I want to say, like Ms. Smith said, I see a lot of duplication of efforts here, duplication of programs, duplication of things that can be done and are being done by the school district. In fact, I've been on the board for several years, and I've seen a tremendous development in the programs and the services provided to students over the years. And I think we're at the highest point. I shouldn't say the highest point. I think we can still go higher, and we will continue going higher with our leadership and Dr. Katsura is at the help. But in any case, some of the programs or some of the descriptions that I read in the findings, and then the responses that I saw from the findings, several times I see the phrase, this finding is an impermissible basis for denial. So there's several places in the document that I have that it shows that. But I wonder if, when are we looking at specifically at what the law says, or are we looking at how we serve our students and what we want to do for our students? Because we can sit and say, this is what the Ed Code says, this is the basic, and this is what we have to do. And we can provide those services, and we can have a graduation rate and dropout rate and all the different factors that compose the educational system. But in the Moreno Valley Unified School District, one example I can cite is the graduation rate. We've gone from 67% to over 90% in the school district. And that is not just looking at the ed code. It's looking at the ed code plus a lot of the programs, and a lot of the services that have been improved, increased, and a lot of the culture that has been developed over the years, especially the last 5 to 10 years, and making sure that the school district is well connected with the community, with the business community, with the faith-based community, and on and on and on. So some of the areas that I see is, when it says that this finding is an impermissible basis for denial, it looks to me that, we're looking at the basic stuff. But again, in the district, I think we're aiming for a much higher level of services, because we want to make sure our students graduate prepared for college and ready for the next chapter in their lives. So with the duplication of services and some of those areas where I see that we're looking for something low, whereas the district is looking for something much higher. And just as an example, the AP classes in world languages not being there, it says this is not this finding is an impermissible basis for denial. I think that if we establish that basis that allow the students to have access to those classes, then like Mr. Johnson mentioned, we are looking for students not just to comply with the law, but we're looking for students to make sure that they are successful. In other words, we're opening the doors, we're opening opportunities for students to succeed and to have much better preparation that the ed code just says. So I think, I appreciate the services and the goals of this school, but I think the district is already providing a lot of services that are being offered here. And I think we could serve the students way much better. And I'm not saying that the services of the charter are not good, but I'm saying our service in the school district, to me, seem to be much better and going in a much improved pace in the upcoming year. We're at over 90% graduation rate, and we continue to move up with the goals that we have, thanks to the superintendent and his team. And then the English, several areas kind of mentions the same thing. This is an impermissible basis for denial. Well, like Mr. Johnson talks about the African-American community, I can speak about the Hispanic Latino community. We want to make sure that they are successful too. We want to make sure that the students, that the services provided and the classes, the mentoring, the tutoring, and the resources and the professionals and the professional development provided to those professionals is there in place. So I think we're continuously improving our services. And I think in the area of technology, a lot has been done, especially this year because of the need. But in the previous year, even before the pandemic, we're already aiming to make sure that every student had a device and every student had access to internet and many other areas. So I think we're at a good standing. And the last thing that I would mention is in the area of the fiscal services or the fiscal area. It says here that it will create a problem in the financial area for the school district and capping the number of students at 280. Well, that doesn't mean that tomorrow that number could go up. The charter may always change it, make a decision to increase the number and take numbers away from the district. But in any case, I think we can continue providing the services to our students. And I'll just say thank you for coming to our meeting. Thank you for providing the information. But I think we are providing much better services. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kane. Okay, for my comments, I've lived in this community almost 30 years, and I've watched our district grow. Under Dr. Kedziora's leadership, we have very dedicated and passionate administrators, teachers, classified workers, and we've worked, and they have worked very, very hard to serve the needs of our students. And one thing I've noted, as an educator, retired educator, and living in the community and watching the district, We have worked hard to serve the needs, and we've seen a need for a student. We've developed a program or a service for them. So when we look, and Odeo, I want to thank you for your presentation. It was, very well done. Our staff, Maribel Maddox, and all the workers that helped her, and Mr. Keel, but my main concern is we are offering these programs, and I really think we do an excellent job, and these are our kids. There's a lot of passion, in our district. There's, dedication. We don't have to do an MOU, with schools, for the kids to engage in sports or an activity, because they are our kids, if they're a program and, that we offer. So I don't want to repeat, but I'm in agreement with the comments made by my colleagues. So, at this time, are there any other comments to be made? Okay, so at this time, there's no further comments or questions. Do I have a motion on resolution number 2020-21-41 to approve or deny the petition for the Odeo Valley Charter School?
Point of clarification, Dr. Locke.
Yes, sir.
The resolution, I just want to make sure that we understand what a yes means and what a no means.
Oh, okay. I'm asking for a motion. This time we're a motion to, do we want to approve?
Okay, so
the resolution, or do we want to deny it?
The resolution states that it denies the petition. So a yes vote would mean denying the petition, correct?
Yes, correct. Thank you, Mr. O'Gain.
Thank you.
Can I?
Right, I think we need the motion first.
Yeah. So right now, I need a motion to whether I need a motion that's going to say I want to approve the petition, or do I a motion that I want to deny?
Dr. Locke, can I interrupt real quick?
Yes, please.
So whoever makes the motion, they need to clarify if they're going to make the motion to approve it. They're making the motion to deny the petition.
Okay.
Mr.
I mean, making the motion to approve the charter school or to deny the charter school.
You're going to approve or you're going to make the motion to approve resolution 2021, and then you state whether you're approving or denying that resolution for that petition.
I
want to clarify that again.
Yes, please.
In therefore line, if you read the therefore line, be it resolved that the governing board of Moreno Valley Unified School District hereby adopts the finding of facts attached hereto as Exhibit A and denies the petition. It says clearly there, denies the petition to establish the Odeo Valley Charter School. So,
Chris, Mr. Keeler, are you able to?
Yeah, I'm with you. And Mr. O'Gean is saying exactly what I would say. The motion can be to adopt the resolution as written, and that would deny the charter school. If there's a motion to do something else, motion to approve the charter school or conditionally approve the charter school, that would require a different motion. But if the motion is to deny the charter school, then the motion can simply say to adopt the resolution, and I don't have the resolution number in front of me, but you can cite to that resolution number, make a motion to approve that resolution, and then have your discussion and vote.
I like the wording adopt the resolution better because the approve deny gets.
Okay, so it'd be motion, we're asking for the motion to adopt the resolution number 2020-21-41 as written to either approve or deny. Is that correct?
How about, sorry, go ahead, Mr. Keeley.
I was just going to say, you could have just left off that last clause. You don't
As
have the motion to adopt that resolution as it's written. It's to deny the charter school. So you can leave off that last bit. It says to approve or deny, because it's
Okay. Okay. Motion to adopt the resolution 2020 is written. Okay.
correct.
Okay. Thank you.
If I may, Dr. Luck,
Yes.
I would like to move that we adopt resolution number 2020-21-41 as written.
I'll second that.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Second by Mr. Peden. Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Peden.
Aye.
Dr. Luck.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, moving now. Thank you for your help, everyone. It was a little bit confusing to me. So, okay, moving now to item D1A, discussion on updates of the reopening of schools for the 2020-21 school year. Dr. Kaziora, will you provide this update for us, please?
Yes, Dr. Locke. So they're going to put the PowerPoint up on the screen right now, and that way y'all can follow along with me. I want y'all to see what I'm saying. And I do want you to know that if you would like to stop me, or if you want to ask anything, or if there's anything I can clarify, please do. And I'll try to go very, not slow, but I'll try to talk at a pace that I'll pause. I want to remind everyone that in 2014, we developed this mission statement, and this was to improve our graduation rate and to prepare our students for college and career. Since that time, we've changed because we've continued to grow in this area, but we're changing this, and I'll be bringing that to the board at the next board meeting. What has been voted on or developed by different people, and I've been sharing that with you, and I'll be sharing that at the next board meeting. So this mission statement was intended from 2014 to 2020, and you'll see the work of I've shared it with you before, but you'll see it again on December 15th. So on the next slide are 11 commitments, and one of the things on number 5 is intend to be successful and collaborative. I just want to say that during this pandemic, all of these commitments are very important, but one of the things that we have worked and learned to be better at is to listen to understand and have good manners while we're doing it, and to listen for a long time sometimes to different ideas and opinions. So I just want to say how proud I am of the people in our school district for living these commitments and for sharing them in their own work, but also in our community each day. So you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So this is COVID-19 data, and this is confirmed cases and deaths, and this is the most recent information. And you can see that the city of Moreno Valley has 8,852 cases. It's the second highest within our county. And that's in the city of Moreno Valley, which is 51 square miles. And you can see Riverside is second, which is a much larger community. And so there's quite an impact here. And so the next slide, you can see that Riverside County ranks third in positive COVID-19 cases across the state. Los Angeles and San Bernardino, Los Angeles being first and San Bernardino being second. And Riverside County has been increasing over time. And I just wanted you to see those different counties there and point that out. So this is within the city of Moreno Valley and the county of Riverside. And this is the status of COVID-19 cases over time. And you can see that in the city of Moreno Valley, since July 21st, 2020, that these cases have And I can't see that bottom slide there because it went down, but can one of y'all say what it is?
Okay, it's down.
The red, what does it say in the red there? Because, you know, the slide went down and I can't see it.
It looks like it's plus 6,064.
Thank you, Daryl Peden. That's what I was trying. I was afraid to say the wrong thing, you know. But I appreciate the participation.
Absolutely.
I'm going to try.
I'm glad I didn't say the wrong thing.
I'm going to try to stay with the slides as I flip through them, you know, instead of looking up there. And then you can see in the county of Riverside that that number has increased 54,000 since July, and in California, 833,000. And this is the increase over time since we started providing you this data. And that's when we started providing this data, was in July. So then on the next page, which is deaths over time. I was, you know, I looked the same, but it's deaths, and this is, you know, hard to talk about, but the city of Moreno Valley, there's been 94 deaths, you know, 103, excuse me, and that's 62, an increase of 62 since July. And then in the county of Riverside, it's increased 855, and then in California, 11,517. And this is just to show you the trends that we're seeing in our own city, and our county, and our state. So in this one, this is our district, our school district, in our own district. And there are, you know, since this is from September 16th, 2020 to December 1st, 2020, we've had 49 positive cases and 68 exposed to COVID-19. It includes people who have been exposed outside of work, live with someone who tested positive for COVID-19, or may have identified as a close contact with another employee. These numbers reflect staff members who tested positive who were exposed to COVID-19, whether they were on or off campus. And I just want you to know that there are a variety of factors involved, and each case is unique. These numbers reflect staff members who tested positive who were exposed to COVID-19, whether they were working on campus or if they were working remotely. And when we receive a report of a positive case, we take immediate action to mitigate any potential exposure, but we also have to go back and verify that information. This is done through a process, so please know these numbers are not exact at this time, since there are many moving parts. And so this is an estimate for you to understand where we are right now. And we have received confirmations from some of the people who were exposed and have reflected it in tonight's update. Some were moved to positive cases, and some were later identified as not actually being exposed, because there's criteria. And so we have to, you know, when there's contact tracing, we have to verify that. And the board, you know, I just want you to know, you may have seen a higher number before in some other communication, little different, but it could be because of, you know, verifying these numbers and verifying the cases. Are there any questions about that data that I just shared, or comments or anything?
I don't have any questions.
How often is that updated?
Well, weekly. We update it weekly.
Oh, okay.
We didn't always give a weekly summary, but because of the increase and because of the number of employees that recently have had different situations, we started doing like a weekly, daily update. I mean daily, but then it's changed weekly because, you know, situations change. Like when someone says they've been exposed, but maybe they figured out they weren't exposed.
Okay.
So. Okay, I'll go to the next slide then. Again, I repeat this, but in our reopening plan, we're here in virtual classes and activities and events, and we we're transitioning some where it's legal to do so, or the health department says that it's okay to do so, for small in-person classes, activities, and events with virtual options when possible. So that's where we are right now. We continue to be, like, as you know, on the next slide, in the purple. And when you look at the next slide, you'll see that we continue to remain in the purple because of our adjusted cases and our positivity rate. And right now there's 51 counties in California that are in that, in the purple, out of 58 counties. So that's something to consider. And then recently there was some new information from Cal OSHA that the board had approved, the Cal OSHA Standards Board had approved a COVID-19 workplace safety emergency standard to protect general industry employees. And the emergency standard requires employers to create a written COVID-19 prevention program that includes, and I want you to know that since this pandemic began in March, Anna E. Velasco, who's our public information officer, developed an employee program guide and a employee guide and a administrator's guide that has been adapted, and every communication that we send out on Tuesday and Friday, where we communicate in text, email, and phone call, that guide is located within those texts and those emails. And so I was very pleased that we already had many of these things in place. And so working with Sandra Ayala, our Director of Risk Management, and Ana E. Velasco and Dr. Verdi in Human Resources, and Zana Lopez and Services, these are in the district. There's a system for communication. There's identification and evaluation of COVID-19 hazards. There's investigation and responding to COVID-19 workplace. You yourselves, when you visited schools, have received emails when you've been there on a day when somebody may have been exposed to let you know. And then you've also received an email that it was an error because the situation was not as it said it was. And then you were told that it changed. You remember that when y'all received that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what it's an example of how it changes sometimes. That we provide.
I will tell you this, it made me very nervous.
Yeah, it does, people. That's true. But it's meant to help everyone, do things that prevent the spread of COVID. That's the whole idea.
But Dr. Katzira, what I think for us, though, as board members, it gives us an opportunity to actually see the protocols that are in place, and that they are doing what they need to do. So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And physical distancing and face coverings, that's really important. And other engineering controls, administrative controls, and personal protective equipment, which you've seen when you visited schools, the HEPA filters, the air circulation, and then the plexiglass that protects people from the public and being physically distanced from each other. And reporting, record keeping, and access, which we do have reporting, record keeping, and access, which I just shared. And the evaluation of COVID-19 cases, the return to work criteria. There's a system in place within the district that's, COVID at MVUSD.net, where things are sent, and it's a central clearinghouse where human resources, public information, and risk management works together collaboratively to make sure the information is going where it needs to go, and also shared with maintenance and operations for disinfecting purposes. And then multiple COVID-19 outbreaks and major COVID-19 outbreaks. And I just want to reemphasize, most of what is required we've already been doing through our protocols and processes that we have in place. And we understand that more requirements may be coming, but we continue to update those as needed. And this is an example of that document. And we just had a principals meeting yesterday where we reviewed many of these protocols in here with our principals and our directors. and to make sure they understand where to go to, because in here it gives you guidance as to what to do when an employee notifies you that they may have been exposed or they tested positive. So tonight, one of the things that I had in an action item was about a parent survey. And so this was to offer, this was going to be to elementary parents, and this is just the sample of the survey. As you can see on the next slide, that parents would be asked to choose, if we were to use this, to whether they want to continue in a hybrid model, go to a hybrid model or distance learning. And this was just a sample of the survey that would be given. And it tells them about the hybrid model. They have to maintain physical, social distancing of at least 6 feet, properly wearing a face covering over the nose and mouth, daily symptom screening. Ability to stay home is necessary due to quarantine needs of the safety precautions, and consider the health of others as well as themselves by following all precautions necessary. And during the at-home days, students will have consistent access to teachers. Instead, students will be asked to engage in asynchronous work, offline assignments. So that's the hybrid model, and then the distance learning model, which they were in, if they'd like to continue with that. Now, this is only when we are able to do this and when we are able to provide this survey. So it's just an example of what we would send to elementary parents should we decide to do that. Are there any questions about that survey?
I guess not, Dr. Kaziora.
Okay.
Do you have a timeline now for the survey, or have you decided not to do it at this time and to wait? I'm confused by the survey because I didn't know if we were doing it now or later or what the situation.
Well, just like everything, it changes. And so right now, this is just to have the survey ready if we decided to use it. So I don't have a timeline at this moment because we're still working with our association on a hybrid model, and we don't have that worked out yet. And so it would be premature to send out a survey. And so I'm not advocating to send it out. I'm just only making sure that we have a plan in place if we were to need it. Does that make sense, Ms. Smith?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So parents who might be listening should not expect a survey to be coming tomorrow then?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, thank you. So then on the next slide, this is just, it just says hybrid models, but it's just to share that, like it says on this, the district continues to collaborate with the associations to develop schedules for students and teachers for the possibility of a hybrid model if conditions are met. So that work continues. And so that's where we are with that right now. So one of the things that I'll be asking the board tonight about approving is a second phase of athletic conditioning. Now, I just want you to know this gets confusing to me because phase 1 is the conditioning where we did season A for fall, and now season B for spring is coming up. And students are eager to have outdoor activities that are structured and that they can develop the skills to participate in sports if they were to resume. So in this, you can see that the CIF moved the boys volleyball to the spring season today. So, which we already had that going, but they moved it to spring. And also due to the continued surge in COVID-19 infections, the California Department of Public Health has postponed the issuance of its updated youth sports guidance. All full practice and competition start dates are officially on hold until updated guidance is issued. we sent this information out tonight to families so that they are aware. It was in the communication, the email and the text that they get to the parent portal. And so they were made aware of this. So right now it's just looking at conditioning still. And there's no official start date of any sport at this time.
Yeah. You just answered the question I was going to ask.
And Dr. Kidziora, real quick, you didn't mention, so I would assume that they haven't came up with any other guidance that contradicts where we're headed as relates to sports conditioning. Is that correct? They're still okay with this process?
Yeah, we check daily with the health department. We check to make sure that, like those updates I just gave you about the CIF and the health department that I read about, the talking point where I said that they postponed the issuance of its updated youth sports guidance, but they continue to say that we should continue with athletic conditioning, or that we should, if we have all of the systems in place and we are following the guidelines.
Okay, and then the other question, I'm sure you're going to address whether or not how we're doing in terms of our as terms of what we've been doing for sports conditioning, how well we're doing as it relates to safety. But my question right now would be for season A, which is the fall. Once we enter into the spring and that's approved, if it is approved by the board, does the fall, does that stop or is that ongoing?
No, it wouldn't stop. It would continue because we have designed enough spaces, enough areas where this can happen, because it's there's 12 students to a cohort and 1 or 2 coaches depending on the cohort. So it would continue. The fall would continue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and one of the reasons it was. Now, another reason is because those sports were supposed to begin possibly, but they're not going to begin right now. So that's why conditioning can continue in fall in season A.
Got it. Will there be any issues as we move forward to the others? Will this wrap up all of our sports here?
This would be all of them except for marching band.
Yeah,
yeah. And that's another area that we're working on, but it can't be done with instruments. It can be done, they can do the same thing. And then choir could also be outside too. They have to have a mask on when they sing, but it can be outdoors too.
Right. Yeah. I didn't see track on there because I was looking for a T, but it starts with boys and girls track. Okay. That's what I'm okay. Got it.
So on the next page, this just gives you the last 2 weeks. Now, remember Thanksgiving, there wasn't as much going on because of, it was Thanksgiving week. And then this one, well, the one I'm showing you is the week before Thanksgiving. So I'm sorry. So this is the week before. Well, now you flipped it, didn't you? Can you go back? Yeah. It's okay. So this was the week of Thanksgiving. And you can see, like, at Thanksgiving, isn't there one school there that had, it was Vista del Lago, that had, well, it's okay. Well, I'm just showing you the number of students in each, from each week. So it's just to show you the number of students by school that participate. So you've got the next one. So in conditioning updates, this is Riverside County Public Health updates. Student athletes can bring their own sports equipment for use during conditioning. And we've already discussed this before, but just to review it. Items that touch the face, eye protection, mouth, and nose protection should not be shared and should be the athlete's responsibility to clean and disinfect per manufacturer and CDC recommendations. Individual sports balls, such as footballs and volleyballs, can be labeled specific to the athlete and used for the appropriate drill and conditioning when the athlete retrieves their own sports balls. Drills such as a football kicker, quarterback, or volleyball setter practicing could have such use and implication. Now, what's new here is common touch is not possible and individual equipment is brought for practice, then the same cleaning and disinfection standards as employed with any school specific sports equipment need to be followed. And then we have some guidelines that schools follow, and then we highly encourage students to bring their own equipment to limit sharing equipment. But when we have equipment, should they not have it, but it has to be cleaned every 30 minutes. So in the timeline in phase 1 in October, Dr. Arce began to meet with the coaches, the athletic directors, to begin the modified phase 1 timeline implementation. And then by November 6th, the modified phase 1 is updated and prepared for cabinet review and approval. And then by November the 10th, we present the modified phase 1 plan for board review and approval. And then by November 11th, we inform families about any changes and updates. And then by November 30th, modified phase 1 begins, including the following guidelines. And the yellow highlights about the cleaning stations will be located at all locations where sports balls are used, and the cleaning of sports balls every 30 minutes. And these protocols are being followed. And there is an administrator at each school during these practices, during this conditioning. And many of you visited, and we'll do another visit again. So in the spring conditioning proposed plan on the next slide, this is after board approval, nothing's happened yet. We'll hire remaining spring coaches, and these are the numbers that are needed in each of those areas for the different schools and what they've told us they need. Athletic director with Anthony Pipkins, that's the director of maintenance and operations, to review protocols for disinfecting equipment. And the students can disinfect their own non-sharing sports balls with provided wipes, aloe vera and alcohol wipes at least once every practice. And coaches will disinfect any accidental cross-contact equipment at every occurrence using gloves and appropriate disinfecting solution. And for outdoor weight equipment, all equipment will be sanitized after each use, regardless of the cohort. So if there was any outdoor weight equipment that they had outside, that would be cleaned after anybody uses it, whenever anybody uses it.
Dr. Javiera, can I jump in real quick? I have a quick question.
Okay.
Spark the question as relates to weight equipment. How do you maintain social distance and the safety protocols with weight equipment when many of that activity requires a spotter? So I do have some concerns about that, especially as our cases are increasing rapidly here in our community. Have you guys addressed that issue, or are we talking about weight exercise that doesn't require spotters?
It's really exercise that doesn't require spotters. It's just using weight equipment outdoors, the weight equipment that you can use, like weights that you would use individually.
Okay, so no issues with like weight, a bench press or squat or something that would require a spotter?
No, I mean, that's not the way it was described to me. The county said that outside weight conditioning is allowed, but cleaning and disinfection has to be done after each use. And so what you mean, you're talking about like they brought a bench outside? Is that what you mean, Daryl?
Well, during practices, players normally take some time out to just go and lift weights. But I think in those cases, they're a little bit different than the regular norm. In other words, like say if you're a wrestler, so the weights are the things that you're going to always be lifting to get stronger. The football players, well, but the football players, they're not going to be spending that much time on those.
It's no, I probably didn't say this clearly. No spotters are allowed. It's only individual weight exercises.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, then the weights will be something that they know, that the coaches know a regular student can handle, rather than requiring a spotter because something's going to be awfully heavy.
Yeah.
I would think that. I don't think a coach would have a kid go out there to deadlift a 250 by himself. So
Well, there's no spotters, and it's only individual weight weight exercises.
Yeah, but he wouldn't let him lift that much, is what I'm saying. He wouldn't allow him to lift that much.
So from November to November the 20th, they've recruited and encouraged spring student athletes to complete steps number 1 through 8 in the parent portal. And this was just like in the other one. There's a lot of things that have to be completed before they can participate in this. And so that is continuing to be worked on. It wasn't even, students can't come until they've completed it and their parents have signed off. And so the tentative schedule for fall sports, spring sports, and marching band, but the marching band is not happening yet. Detailed schedules will be available on the first week of December. And the tentative schedule right now is for 3 to 5, no more than 17 cohorts, approximately 200 students. And these 17 cohorts are fall sports and spring sports combined. So you can go back to that other slide. It's okay. You're on the right one. Yeah. I thought you did one. I'm sorry. So from 5 to 7 p.m., again, there'd be no more than 17 cohorts. This is approximately 200 students that are out there. And they're in cohorts of, it could be 12 or less. And no more than, and from 7 to 9, no more than 17 cohorts. So we're working with marching band to see how they can participate, but that still hasn't all been finalized yet. So on the next slide, it talks about the proposed plan. And so I just shared the schedules to present to the board, and then board reviews and approval of spring practice conditioning. Schedules are updated if needed and communicated with families and students from December 1st through December 5th. And on December 7th, there'd be a spring coaches meeting like we had for fall, where you'd be invited, board, and to review guidelines and expectations. New hires will have a separate meeting and sanitation expectations. And then on December the 8th, and again, if everything wasn't in order, just like before, we would delay this until everything was completed. Spring sports conditioning begins. That's Tuesday, December 8th. And students and coaches will follow the approved cohort guidelines approved for the modified phase. And then from December the 8th to February 26th, the conditioning takes place. And during winter break, no conditioning will take place on December 24th through 25th and December 31st through January 1st. And other days during winter break, conditioning practice will take place depending on coaches' availability, and sites will submit their schedules a week before. There was one school that it was Vista del Lago during Thanksgiving break. Monday and Tuesday, they had conditioning. And there was an administrator present. Dana Dunhams was the administrator on site, the assistant principal, along with the athletic director. And so it depends upon the coach's availability and the administration. There always has to be an administrator there to monitor and make sure that things are being addressed as needed. And then, so do you have questions or any concerns or comments about the spring conditioning?
No, I think the coaches are doing a good job so far.
Yeah, my only question, Dr. Kaziora, was just kind of getting your perspective in terms of how do you feel everything's going as it relates to what we've been able to achieve and you all have been able to achieve since we started this sport conditioning. How confident are you? I mean, obviously you would be confident, otherwise you wouldn't be bringing it to the board, but I am interested in learning and hearing a little bit more about what your thoughts are.
Well, I take this very seriously, and Dr. Arce, who oversees secondary education, I meet with her and I make sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted. because this is extremely important. But I have to tell you, the students, when I visit, and there's some board members, you visited at this, the students take the protocols very seriously and know that if they're not followed, they won't be there, because this matters. And the coaches do too. And I'm encouraged that I think the students have developed a culture out there of supporting this and checking on each other, making sure they do the right thing, and that their families expect it too. And then we've had some situations where students may have been exposed and the cohort went home until we made sure everyone was okay. The families of those students have always been very cooperative and very supportive, and they know what's expected. That's part of when they sign off on those 8 things that are in the parent portal. That's signing off that you agree to follow these rules and participate as expected. So I think because students can do this outside, and they can come on campus and use be in a cohort of 12 or less and work with a coach. It gives them a lot of feeling about, I'm going to be able to participate in a sport, and I'm preparing for it. And there's a lot of anticipation there. And I just appreciate all the work that the athletic directors, the coaches, and Dr. Arce, and the principals or the administration of each high school. They take it very seriously.
And Dr. Calderon, you mentioned that it has happened where a cohort had to be sent home. Has this happened? Is this not happening? Is this happening on a regular basis, or is this something that's really not that prevalent?
It's not frequent at all. It happened once at Canyon Springs and another time at Moreno Valley High School. But, it was just sometimes the one at Moreno Valley High School was out of more about the students were concerned because they knew someone and they decided to stay home,
Oh, okay.
And they did that on their own and asked, to do it. And so it's not frequent, and it does happen, but when it does happen, the cohort doesn't come back until we've made sure that everything's safe and that there's no spread of COVID.
Thank you, Dr. Calderon.
Yeah, and we are following the guidelines of the Riverside County Department of Public Health with Dr. Kaiser, and we make sure that we listen to any updates, and we also check before, like people want to add like something, like I can't even think what the last thing, I guess it was choir, but we always check before we even, say it's okay or how they can do it. We make sure that they agree and that we're on the same page. So I'll go to the next slide, which this is social emotional learning. And I just wanted to give an update because last Monday, it was Thanksgiving, during the Thanksgiving holiday, from 9 to 12, we had the first Social Emotional Learning Summit that Dr. Buster in Professional Development hosted. Jasmine Fincher, who's a professional development specialist, and Angela Dubé Robinson. And there were like 400 people that attended. I think that Dr. Locke, Mrs. Smith, and Mr. Holguin were there, I think. And so I just want to say, and you all know this because you tell me this all the time, that how important this area is, not only for children and young people and our families, but our teachers and our people who work in schools with children and families, because everyone's lives have changed due to the pandemic, but how you deal with it and how you address it sometimes is not always clear. And so this was an opportunity. I attended 3 different sessions that day, and I was just very impressed at the level of, like, there were like 60 or 70 in each session I was in, and just that what was happening within our district. And I think that will have an effect on our schools and our community because of the the work that was done in this summit. And I didn't know if those of you that were able to attend wanted to say anything, but I just think it's important that in what we're doing, that this is something that we continue to offer and work on.
Dr. Kessler, the one thing I just want to give accolades to, professional development, Dr. Buster, and everyone that was involved in putting this together, because, like I said, there was, I think it was 10 breakouts and 3 sessions. I mean, that was a lot of presentations, a lot of options. And most of all, too, is to have on the Monday, the first 10 day of the break, over 400 people participate. I thought was, astounding. It shows that it is a district, priority, and also it's a priority with our staff wanting to, to do well in this area. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know, Ms. Smith, did you want to say anything?
Yes, I'll say something. I attended. I thought it was really terrific, especially the keynote speaker. We have heard her before. Yeah. She is so good. I was so impressed with her. Social emotional learning and development is so important during this time where our students are socially isolated and they need extra support. And so I'm glad that we were able to address this during this time and have this summit for our teachers. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Holguin, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Katsura. I think it was commendable that what was it, about 400, 500 people were on the call on Monday when the school district was supposed to be on recess. And that shows the importance that people are putting in this topic and these kinds of presentation, professional development. So, I'm just, I truly appreciate everything that was involved. And of course, all those that put it together and developed the program, because it was really good program. I also attended 3 sessions and it was great. A lot of great information. So
thank you. Well, I just want the board to know, because you've expressed this to me, all of you, about the social emotional of our students and our families. And I just am pleased to see that. I think, you have to take care of yourself before you take care of others. And it's like when they say on the airplane, put your, take the oxygen and put it on first before you try to help anybody. I think that that's so true with all of this. And the more that people feel equipped to help themselves, they feel equipped to help others. So thank you for leading that charge, all of you, and for saying that we need that, because we need to do more of this. So as we talk about reopening schools, and I want to say this when we say reopening school, I've been guilty of maybe, like, I guess we all have, about saying a date when it might happen, or people think a certain date, like we said October 30th, then we changed. I think we no longer want to say a date, and we just want to plan and prepare for when it's safe and when we are able to do so. So it doesn't mean tomorrow, and it doesn't mean next week. It just means that we are working so that when we can, we have a plan. And that's what we work towards.
Always be prepared.
Yes, yes. So I've said these before, but I never know who's watching or listening. And so I just repeat these because I think this is so valuable for everyone to know. But cleaning and disinfection is so important in every aspect of what we do. And it's a change in behavior that people have not always, been attentive to as much. They have to think through this sometimes. And so cohorting, for instance, not mixing cohorts like those. I think it's a great, it's a wonderful thing when I observe, like, the athletic conditioning, because the students are in these cohorts that they can't mix, and they have to stay in the same cohort. And, like when we first talked about that, we talked about how that might make them feel, or it might be difficult, but they've learned to adapt, and they've learned to work within that cohort. And so for me, that's been important to watch and observe over time. The entrance, egress, and movement within the school. When you've visited schools, you've seen the markings on the ground, and Anthony Pipkins is trying different things to get, well, if it rains, which it did here, those things wash away if you stick them on the concrete. So they may have to paint on the concrete, markers where people stand and things. So we're looking at that. Face coverings and other essential protective gear, that's really important. And how to wear a face covering. Health screenings for students and staff. Healthy hygiene practices. Identification and tracing of contacts. This is so important. And when we go into schools, that's what we've looked at all the procedures. And I'm proud to say that our schools have come to a point, and you see this too when you visit, where you see similar things happening. There's no guesswork. It's that this is part of what they do. The physical distancing, the staff training and the family education, the testing of students and staff, the triggers for switching to distance learning, which we always have to have in place. Should the health department, close something or decide that we need to do something. And then in Moreno Valley, we're very proud of our communication plan, and that we do it every Tuesday and Friday, and that we have been doing it consistently since March. And so we're always giving information. So these are all of the things that everyone works on every day. And I just want to say to maintenance and operations and the people in transportation who've been repurposed as custodial workers at schools. I was at Mountain View today, and I kept asking, is your front door always this clean? And they said, well, it's cleaner now that we have all this help here. And that's because all of the people in transportation and all the people at the schools who work there have time to clean and really disinfect and make things really look better than I've ever seen them. So I just want to thank everyone for that. But it's a work in progress. And then people ask about what we bought, what we use this money for that we've had. So, or that we've been getting. So hand washing stations, and those are used at our athletic conditioning and our grab and goes, and wherever they're needed for an event or something that's happening. The hand sanitizing stations and dispensers that you see mounted throughout buildings. I mean, you can't walk down a hall now and not see one, or walk from an area. The thermal panels, the no-touch temperature checks, where people just have to walk in front of a scanner and it scans your temperature. They've had one here at the district office for us to, check out, and it really works quickly, and it's efficient. And thermometer and hand sanitizing stands, the desk dividers, the barrier guards, the plexiglass, that's ongoing, and the touch-free bottle filling stations, because the water fountains at schools are capped, so students have to use these water filling stations to fill up bottles at school sites and at athletic conditioning. And then the next one, sneeze guards. These are for different places where they're used to protect people. Cloth masks, there's 2 per child, 1 per staff. Disposable masks, disposable face shields. Those are used in some of our settings where students are being assessed. They have those disposable face shields. And then there's contactless thermometers, and then the HEPA filter air scrubbers that circulate air and provide clean air. I'm always reminded when I come down and look, I don't know if y'all seen this, but they're on the walls and things, and they say 99% clean. And I didn't even know if the air was clean before, and now I know, and it just gives me great comfort when I see it. I don't know, I like it. I'm thinking about getting one at home. I just think that gives you a level of confidence and a level of feeling that people care about you and that they want you when you're in a building to feel like, everything's being done possible to help you feel safe. And then on the next slide, technology and devices and connectivity, over $6 million has been spent, and more is being spent. There's so much being done so that there's replacements for students. When people come in here, they get one immediately. I was talking to a parent tonight, and they get help immediately. And I just want to repeat that we've continued to stay open until 7 at night to help the public. People are working. They can come in here until 7 at the district office. And we have a phone number, 571-7676, where you can get help with technology from 8:30 in the morning until 7 at night, and except on Friday. And but you can still come here on Friday and get your Chromebook replaced or worked on, or whatever needs to be done. Usually they can fix it right there too. Sanitation materials, $39,000. Personal protective equipment, over $1 million, almost $2 million. Health, social, emotional support, over $1 million. Physical learning environment, over $1 million, and teacher distance learning, $631,000, bringing it to a total of $11 million. But all of these things are done to enhance distance learning and also to help with our environment wherever we're at, so that people feel protected and safe. And then I just want to point out, I'm very proud of this. This happened through our student LCAP meeting, but students talked about headsets, and they said we need headsets because there's 4 or 5 people at a house and they can't hear. And so these are being delivered during grab and go, and they're nice headsets. They're better than the one I have on. And which I think is important, because I want students, we think it's important for students to feel comfortable and supported. And these even has a microphone in it. And then 31,000 computer mice, because they talked about how they need ease in navigating and moving with their Chromebooks. And so, I'm just so proud that we've ordered all this and we're giving this out to students. At Mountain View, when I was there today, they said they've given out 400, but that means they have at least 900 more to go. So I just want to remind parents, please go to Grab and Go and ask for your headset or your computer mice, because there's one there for you for your child. And it will really help their distance learning experience. And then on the next slide, these are just signage that we have up that you've seen. And these are being posted in every classroom in the district. The ones on the left side, or is that the right side? The 3 together, those are posted in every classroom. And then the other ones are outside or in different district areas, but they're being posted everywhere. And on the next slide, you can go to the next. So this is the annual information update. And every parent or guardian must complete the annual information update through the Q Parent Connection portal. And the Q Parent Connection provides access to the parent surveys when we give them, to the COVID-19 waiver, to contact information, grades, and absences. So you don't have to get paper, and you can look up these things about your child. And I'm really saying this to the people that are listening. If you haven't done this, please go in and complete this. And there are steps, step by step, in how to do this. And we're very proud of the progress that our schools are making in getting parents to do this. And it's a way for us to communicate with you and for you to have instant information and get information quickly. So if you go to the,
I'm sorry. I was going to ask what our percentage of completion was, but it looks like you have that here.
Yeah, well, I'm very proud of this. We've all been working on it. It's 94% completed district-wide. That's excellent. And we'd like for it to be 100%. And there are schools that are 100%. And I'm going to show you some of those. These were 99 to 100%. Isn't that something? Armada Elementary, Bear Valley Elementary, Box Springs Elementary, Hendrick Ranch, Midland, Merino Elementary, Merino Valley Community Learning Center, Mountain View Middle School, Ridgecrest Elementary School, and Seneca Elementary. Now, the other schools are getting close, but I just am so proud that these schools, have worked together to develop systems to get this done. And so I want every school to be up here, but that's what we're talking about. This is part of our, opportunity here to, wherever we can, to share this information. And then distance learning support. So I just want you to know that I think there's 20 now, isn't there? Or is it 10? There will be 20. I always want things to be more. So there's 10 that now have Wi-Fi. And I think if you go by Valley View High School, you'll see one parked there that goes there every day. and they have picnic tables where students can physically distance, and anybody can come there, and they have an area, and they have it supervised, and they can access the internet, the Wi-Fi. And so that's going to happen more and more. I'm going to show you a schedule in December of where these buses are at. And then I just want to reemphasize why the process that we're using, like when we work with our associations, I want everybody to know that this is important in every district, but especially we find this even more so in our district, that we work together to develop MOUs. I want to thank Dr. Verdi and Mrs. Maddox and Susanna Lopez. They're in negotiations and they develop these MOUs. I'm not part of that, so I get to hear what happens, but they also text me and ask me things and I say stuff, but I don't get to be in there. Of course, that's a good thing too, because I've done that before and I'm not real good in there. Dr. Verdi's much better. Susanna's real good, and so is Maribel. But building relationships and trust matters and goes both ways. And I think in our district, we value relationships. We listen to the students when they said they needed headphones. We listen to parents and families and associations, the management and Board of Education. We're working together to keep everyone safe. And it's an opportunity for labor partners in the district to engage in conversations when decisions are made. And sometimes those conversations take longer, because I just want to remind everyone, we haven't done this before. And so we need more time sometimes. But through that process, we grow in respect for each other, and students are why we work together. So our next steps, we're going to continue contracted services for special education assessments. This began on October the 19th. We're going to continue monitoring English language learner assessments and athletic conditioning. We're going to prepare classrooms for a proposed hybrid model pending board approval. Pending board approval, a survey for parents for the option of hybrid in-person or distance learning. And hybrid schedules, we're working with associations to work on those. And then staff surveillance testing every 2 months once we are back in person or before. We have a board meeting on December the 15th, which is our organization and regular board meeting. And on January 12th, we have another special board meeting. And remember, special board meetings begin at 5, and the organizational meeting will begin at 6. And then on January 19th, we have a regular board meeting that begins at 6. We continue the discussion and give updates at every board meeting on where we are with what we're doing. So I want to thank the board for your support and what you're doing to learn about our schools and learn about what's happening, but to also to be present and to be supportive, as we visit and as we learn about things. Your presence and your questions and your what you ask always makes us think, or makes me think about what more we could do and how we could do it better. So I appreciate your listening here, and I appreciate your guidance when we're working together to resolve these issues. So that concludes this part of the board agenda, Dr. Locke.
Thank you, Dr. Kadzior. Excellent update. Are there any questions or comments from board members at this time? If not, Dr. Ken, moving now to item, E1A, which was a recommendation. Are we going to pull that? I've done to pull that item to pull E1A.
Yes, Dr. Locke.
Okay. So we are pulling item A, recommendation to approve the elementary hybrid model, and we'll do this at a future board meeting.
Yes, thank you.
So now we're going to move to item E1B, which is a recommendation to approve the elementary parent survey for elementary blended learning model programs. Now, are we going to take action on this item tonight, Dr. Kadzior, or are we going to?
Well, I was going to ask you to approve the survey. It's not to disseminate it. It's just to approve the survey so that we have it ready when we're able to use it.
Okay. And Dr. Kadzior, do you have more information you want to share about this item before we move forward on it?
Well, just to say that we're not going to distribute it. We're not going to distribute it until the board approves a learning choice model, and that we just want to have the survey in place so that once the board has decided what model may be used, when it may be used, we have a survey ready to use. Okay. And this is only for elementary. I don't know that it would change for secondary, but right now this is designed for elementary parents.
Okay, thank you. Board members, are there any comments or questions pertaining to this survey?
No, that's for me.
Okay. Okay, so at this time, do I have a motion to approve the elementary parents survey as presented?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Holguin,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Peden,
Aye.
Dr. Locke.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Okay, now moving to item E1C, a recommendation to approve the athletics participation for modified phase 1 of the spring season sports conditioning. I know, Dr. Katsura, you shared a lot of this information in your update, but do you have additional information?
Well, I just want to say that you will be invited on December the 7th to the athletic directors meeting. And I do want to say that nothing is going to happen until the coaches are hired and the students have until they've completed items 1 through 8 in the parent portal for athletic conditioning. And that if we have to delay it, like we did before, we will delay it. So what you're approving is for us to begin this, but it doesn't mean we're going to begin it until we have everything in place. So I just want you to know that just like we did the last time, we will keep you apprised of any updates or changes.
Okay.
Well, I have one question.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Johnson, do you have a question?
I was going to go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So, and this isn't really about conditioning, but the CIF had put out a schedule earlier in the year about some start date sports that would be in December. Have all of those been postponed now?
Yeah, they put out a notice today about that, and they don't have any updates on when they will begin. They're not following the schedule that we once were given.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Dr. Kessler, I was just wondering, are you getting calls or having conversations with parents about what do you think the season is going to look like, especially like in football? I was talking with one football player who was telling me that he and his mom both thought sure that he could play this year and get a scholarship, but told him I had no idea where it's going to be. And I said, perhaps you should talk with your coach. So I was wondering if that's a discussion that coaches and players are having.
Absolutely. I think the coaches and the athletes and the players are having that. Mm-hmm. And there's some concern because 3 states where that we're not having, playing sports. Mm-hmm. And so there are other states that are, and they're having problems, which you're reading about too. Professional teams, other teams.
Yes.
And so, there's California, which is more restrictive, so more protective of students and their lives. I think sometimes, like people do different things in different states, but I don't know that they always continue to do it. Mm-hmm. They have to stop and start again and end and have interruption, and it's disruptive to people and families. So there's pluses, and minuses, but I have to tell you that I think that this approach is, we're in a health crisis, and I keep saying that it's not about academics or sports. It's about keeping people safe and keeping them healthy. And if you can do things, which you can do distance learning and you can do athletic conditioning, then that's good. But other things, they're not always as conducive to the criteria that we use for, mm-hmm. in a health crisis, like physical distancing. And sometimes we think, like I didn't realize the other day until somebody, Anna E. and I kept talking about it. I didn't realize that it was 15 minutes cumulative that you were with somebody during the day that you could get, that they cause an issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought it was 15 minutes, like all day long.
Well,
But it's 15 minutes, like cumulative. Dr. Verdi, you explained that to me.
Oh, we talked about that.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Can you share it again?
You mean the cumulative, Dr. Kadziora?
Yeah.
Well, it's just, you know, if we have a 5-minute meeting in the morning in Dr. Kedziora's office, and then I come back downstairs to my office, and then I have a 10-minute meeting later with him that day, it is all together 15 minutes that we would have been in the vicinity. So.
Yeah, I didn't understand that, because I thought it was, you know, like, I don't know, but what I thought, but it just, I thought it was at one time.
I think when the guidance first came out, Dr. Kadziora, it may have been all together one time, and then they changed it to be cumulative.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a big thing to me, you know, like that. So, I mean, just there's lots of things like that, Mr. Johnson, that, you know, other places aren't following, and
yes,
and not seriously, like wearing a mask and, you know, wearing gloves and being physically distanced. And that's why you see the rise that we've seen in cases in other states. And, you know, California is 39th. We have 40 million people that live here. And, you know, you see other states like Montana and Wyoming, which are smaller, but they have a higher rate.
Dr. Kadziora, one last thing. I may as well tell you where that question came from. I read our newspaper tonight, and I got a call first, and I read the newspaper. But our high school team went 9-0. Now you tell me how they do that. 9-0.
What high school?
In Port Arthur.
Oh, I was like, where is it?
You know, I saw that. I'm thinking, that's impossible. How did they pull that off?
Well, nobody's playing them, probably.
Okay, any other questions or comments before we take action on this item? Okay, if not, do I have a motion to approve the modified Phase 1 spring season sports conditioning as presented?
So moved.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. John.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Ms. Smith. Mr. Peden.
Aye.
Dr. Locke.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. And as a reminder to my colleagues, this is a special meeting, so at time, with no further business to come before the Board of Education, the special meeting is adjourned at 7:46. Thank you.